Hello and welcome to Wired In. I'm Diana Galata, Executive Director of Public Relations and Marketing for Hampton City Schools. I'm very excited today to be joined by Mrs. Martha Mugler. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Mrs. Mugler is the chair of the Hampton School Board. And before we talk about a very important task that is facing the board, let's learn a little bit more about you. So what path did you take to become first a member of the school board and then now as the chair of the school board?
Well, without a better avenue to describe it, I guess I could say I was drawn to this. I have 4 out of my 5 siblings are public school teachers or have been public school teachers. My father was a public school board member, and I found myself as a mother of 3 very involved in their schools and what was going on in their schools. And so at the time that I ended up running for this seat, the board did not have anyone sitting on the board that had children that were enrolled in our schools. And so I thought it was an important perspective and voice to bring to the table, and that's kind of what brought me to venture into this arena. And you know, I've long held the belief that the success and vibrance of any community is directly tied to the success and vibrance of their public schools. And so that's how I got where I am.
Well, we're glad you did. So very important task coming up. Dr. Shifflette, Dr. Leonard Shifflette, our superintendent, who's been in the division for 41 years, the last 6 as superintendent, has understandably announced that she's going to retire in June. And so one of the most important jobs of a school board is hiring the superintendent, a CEO. And so I understand that our school board is working with the Virginia School Boards Association to hire a new superintendent for us. So tell us a little bit about what VSBA will be doing to help us hire somebody.
Well, VSBA is going to guide us through this process, and they've assisted us in sort of developing a timeline and plan for how we're going to roll the whole search out, and they're going to work with us alongside of the board as we go through the process of searching for a new superintendent. They have assisted us in launching a survey that went out in December. Launched in December and is closed, and they've assisted us in gathering that data, and they've done some data analysis on that for us. We also are going to be holding a series of public hearings and forums at their advice, and they've given us guidance on how to conduct those. And beyond that, they'll be working with us to gather all of the applications in an electronic format and work with us through the process of going through all the applicants and candidates. And once those start coming in, they'll assist us by reviewing and doing some background checking and things of that sort to help us vet all of the candidates. And after that, I think they're going to help us to design the questions and the kind of interview process that we're going to put together for going forward with the interviews of the candidates.
Great. So you mentioned the survey, which is closed, but there are some opportunities coming up for patrons to give some feedback into what qualities they'd like to see in our new superintendent. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we have 3 public forums that are coming up. The first one will be just this Saturday, January 10th. That'll be at 10 o'clock at Hampton High School, and then we'll roll forward into next week on Tuesday, the 13th, at 7 p.m. at Jones Magnet. And then the third one will be at Phoenix Pre-K through 8 School at 7 p.m. That'll be a Thursday, the 15th. And we're also holding 2 forums, hearings for our staff, and those will be held on the 13th, on Tuesday the 13th in the afternoons. So we're looking to gather information from our citizens about what they would like to see us consider during this hiring process and what they're hoping we will be looking for in the candidates, the qualifications and qualities that our citizens would like for us to take into consideration. We'll also use the information that we gather to guide us during the whole interview process and in looking at the candidates. So we're looking for great feedback in what's coming up next week with our hearings, and we'll use all the information that we gather to guide us through making this really important decision for our community.
So after the public hearings, what does the time frame or the timeline look like in terms of what's going to happen this spring, and then really when would you like to get a new superintendent on board?
Well, we'll close out these hearings on the 15th. We expect to meet with the Virginia School Board Association again on the 21st of January, where we will flush out all of the information that we've gathered through the surveys and through the hearings, and work with them to design a brochure that we will put together for the packages that we send out to recruit for this position. VSBA will assist us in advertising the position, both regionally, statewide, and on a national level. So they'll assist us in getting that word out and casting the widest net possible for an outstanding candidate. Beyond the January time frame, we expect to be accepting the applications for superintendent during the month of February, and then conducting interviews in March and April. We hope that we'll be ready to make an announcement of a superintendent in May, and someone who would be ready to start as early as July 1st.
So pretty compact timeline that you all are looking at, but you all have been working very hard, I know, to get the word out about the public hearings and make sure that we do recruit a great person. And I know our community is confident that the school board will do that. Is there anything else that you want to share about this process or about the qualities for a new superintendent? Anything about bringing in a new superintendent before we close today?
Maybe just a couple of things. The other piece I didn't get to mention earlier about the VSBA is that one of the other components that will be a part of this process, and the reason we went with VSBA, is that after an individual is named to the superintendency, they will work with us on board development and developing a rapport and relationship with the superintendent. So we look forward to the opportunity that will present when we get someone on board, but we'll have some continued support from them on this process. And the other thing is that we have loaded information onto our school division website about the superintendent search, and it includes information about the timeline and those things that are currently calendared and rolling out. We'll continue to update that throughout the process. And as the interview processes open up, we'll notify the public of when the interviews are going on and that sort of thing. So we're trying to keep people abreast of what's happening, when it's happening. And so if people are interested in knowing what things look like, that's a good resource of information to see where we are going with this process. And as things develop and potentially change in the process, that will be where we'll first post that information.
Great, and we'll make sure that we put the website address up on the screen for our viewers so they can see where exactly they can go to see that. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is probably the best place for people to go to get timely updates on the process. And so we'll make sure that our website gets updated very frequently so people can know what's going on in this important process. Well, thanks very much for sharing that. I know many people in the community are very interested in knowing what's going to happen. And as you said earlier, the school system is really serves as the beacon for the community, and so this is obviously a very important task. So we appreciate you coming on today to help share with our viewers what this whole process looks like.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to kind of share some of this information, and we look forward to the process as it rolls out, and we are committed as a board to naming the best possible individual to lead our schools forward.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for watching Wired In. Have a great week.